What's up, y'all? Steven here, Bike Bong Biff. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's weird, not racing. What am I doing? But I've had this idea for a video for quite a while now, ever since that new Jarvis Island loop kind of came out. It kind of has to do with ranking up a little bit quicker than you normally would. And in my position, I'm such a high level in Zwift, it takes freaking forever to go from one rank to another. So I thought that this might help, and maybe you guys will too. Now I know there's a million videos on how to level up on Zwift, but I promise this is going to be different. Basically what we're going to be doing on this classic route, we're going to be skipping the KOM, which is quite a bit of climbing. It says that there's only a 1.8% grade for 1.8K, but it's pretty steep from each side that you go to, and we're just going to focus on doing the lap and the sprint. And because we're going to be on a time trial bike, each time we pass between those points, we're either going to get 10 XP, or if you're lucky, you'll get the 250 XP. I haven't gotten it yet, but it's possible. So when you go into Zwift, you choose the classic start ride. It's nice because there's no lead in for this, you just go straight into it. And the first thing you gotta do, like I said, you gotta switch to your time trial bike, and immediately as you go through that banner the first time, you're gonna get that 10 XP. And then it's less than a mile to the other side. And it goes by really quick. You can see that within 3 minutes I get 1 mile in, and then I've already had 20 XP. And so we're going to go back and forth a few times. I got pretty lazy with that turnaround. I was just using my phone, which admittedly makes it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. I know if you have Zwift Play, it's way easier, but I'm old school. So when we get through this final point here, it's been about 15 minutes. We did just over 5 miles. And I was just riding in zone 2 the whole time, which is roughly between 2.4 and 2.8 watts a kilogram. And you can see just in that 15 minutes, I got 10 banners and 5 miles. And you never really go more than a minute or two without getting some sort of XP, which is really nice. That consistency is not something that you can really find anywhere else on Zwift. So in order to compare this information against the other routes, we had to establish some dimensions and measures. So we got our distances. I went through and got all the different XPs for the banners and the bonuses on each different route, along with the overall bonus for completing the route. And I just focused on routes that took 30 minutes or less. Because quite frankly, when you start going into those higher numbers, it's more of a time dedication, and you're really trying to kind of establish a route completion. To do more data mining, I would go to the Zwift hub, and within this website, I don't know if you've ever been there before, but it gives you a breakdown of the XP for each route that you complete. It tells you where the banners are, it gives you all the route profiles, and it does it for every single world. It's actually really handy. So this table that I developed, the data that's being displayed includes the lead-in, but not the overall bonus that you get for completing the route the first time. And the column all the way on the right is the XP you get per minute. And so we can see that the most efficient route is that modified classic route. And I'm actually surprised with how efficient the jungle circuit is. I don't really believe it because A, it's gravel, so if you're on a time trial bike, it's not going to be that fast, and the lead-in for the jungle circuit is all downhill. And when we shift these numbers to focus on just the route without the lead-in, that modified classic route becomes even more efficient. Now, not every single one of them had a lead-in, but removing it really did hurt the most efficient routes. And again, that's what makes this so nice. You immediately start next to the banner and begin accumulating XP. And it's kind of nice because you can use this to rank up your time trial bikes. And now, this is the really interesting part. So anybody that hasn't done these routes, this graph shows that you need to do them. That's where you get the most efficient return on your time. Every single one of them just immediately gets boosted up for that one-time bonus of 250 plus points, and that's going to be exaggerated even more when you do these longer routes. I mean, our modified classic route is the fourth worst, basically. But again, it's a one-time bonus, so that's why this is nice to have in your back pocket, because you can't go back in time and complete these 20-30 minute routes. And again, this is everything summarized together. So the modified classic without the lead-in is extremely efficient. With the lead-in, it's still well above everybody else. Again, I'm surprised that the jungle circuit did so well. And I don't really believe that if you took a time trial bike, it would take the amount of time that Zwift says that it would. But that beach island loop, gotta do it. 26.2 XP per minute. That's almost double the modified classic route that we have. And it really does just put things into perspective as to if you include a workout on top of these route bonuses, that's really where you're going to make your money. And to reiterate, you need to have that time trial bike to consistently get the 10 XP. Even on Zwift, they tell you have a small chance of getting the 250 points. I didn't get it in the 15 minutes. I know I've gotten it before just on a regular bike. And sadly, you can't use this for structured workouts either. When you go through these banners in a workout, you don't actually get the XP. So you can't just put in like a zone 2 workout and just zone out and just do it over and over again. But you definitely need to do a workout when you're doing these routes for the first time. So I hope you guys found that as interesting as I did. I know it's not the usual racing, but I like to do this sort of analysis, this data mining, especially when it's a topic a little bit more interesting like Zwift itself. But as a whole, just to reiterate, I still think the best thing to do, especially if you're a lower level and haven't done all of those easier routes, is definitely to go through those while you're doing a workout and really get some XP that way, rather than doing this situation here and missing out on all that bonus XP. But all in all, I mean, I still think it's a fantastic method, especially if you don't want to be doing a bunch of really tough intervals, which, gosh, you do that more than a few times a week, you're just crazy. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this sort of thing, please consider liking the video, leaving a comment. I'll put the Google Drive doc as well if you want to kind of go through and see what sort of math I did to get through everything. But it was all pretty simple. But as always, stay strong. A little less impressive with the Patagonian. I'll see you in the next one.